Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk the Alien vs. Predator anime. There's been a lot of talk about this recently, primarily because it's the forbidden fruit. It's a product which was created under 20th Century Fox, and then Disney, obviously, got their grubby little mitts on it when they purchased 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox never released this, and Disney may release it. There is some hope for that because of the strikes. But as it stands at the moment, they haven't. So it's the forbidden fruit. And it's one of those things that, because of its inception point, literally taken from Dark Horse Comics, people are really excited. People really want this. And so every little detail that gets released, people are just clambering at. So let's talk about some new details that have come out. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Turn the bell notifications on. And please, guys, I don't ask very often, but please do give the video a share and like it as well. It does help out. So this is from our friends over at avpgalaxy.net, friends of the channel, and I'll leave this link down below. Please do check them out. They're great aggregators of Alien and Predator news. And as you can see from the title, the Alien vs. Predator anime Western animation consultants talk the original details. Now, we've heard a little bit about bits and pieces surrounding this, but not a lot. So let's run down what this is all about, shall we? So Josh Izzo was the former director of licensing at 20th Century Fox. He was actually responsible for kicking off the production of the AVP anime. He previously discussed a bunch of details behind the anime, basically how it got started. And that story itself, just as a brief recap, essentially he was like, we're not doing anything with this great wealth of stories which we own because of Dark Horse. Let's do something with it, please. And 20th Century Fox was just like, yeah, sure. That's a massive abbreviation, but it's a fascinating story. They were just sitting on it doing nothing, and he brought it to the forefront. So he mentioned two people brought on board as Western animation consultants and producers, which were Dave Baker and Eric Calderon. Now, both these individuals recently appeared on an episode of the Best TV Never Made podcast, aptly named, potentially, where they discussed their involvement with the still vaulted anime. But again, remember, ladies and gents, there is some hope that this will see the light of day. Now, don't get massive hope, but there is some, because these individuals, these studios will need content, and they will be mining their vaults for content. We are going into unprecedented times where the actors and the writers are striking, and this is going on indefinitely now. That's pretty much just been announced. So there will be a lot coming out. A lot of shit. Excuse the language. There will be a lot of crap, because there'll be a lot of stuff which is vaulted for a reason. But then there'll be things like this that has just fallen through the cracks. And this may get released. There's genuinely some hope. So in the episode of the Best TV Never Made podcast, Dave and Eric talk primarily about the original concept for the production. As we already know, it was originally envisioned as an adaptation of the first Dark Horse comics, but the duo revealed that the anime would have actually been broken down into 3 story arcs, which adapted Aliens vs. Predator, the sequel, AVP War, and then an original 3rd story to close out Machiko Noguchi's story in this incarnation. Now, if you don't know who Machiko Noguchi is, back in my explained days where I discussed lore, side note, loads of people keep asking me to bring that back. I've done it periodically and no one really watches them, which is a shame because I really enjoyed doing those videos. But anyway, I will leave my Machiko Noguchi explained video linked above. Check it out if you don't know who she is. Genuinely good, strong female. This would have been a good iteration, I think, personally. But here we have it. Here's the statement. My memory is that the first 3 episodes were Randy Stradley and Chris Warner's AVP comic. The next 3 or 4 was the second arc, War. The mini-series, which is my personal favourite, where Machiko, I guess we should say that it's Machiko's story. We're doing a trilogy of films. That's Machiko's story. Our first 3 episodes was a very loose adaptation. I don't think we had the purple rhinos in there. We did the basic idea of it's a farmer on an alien world, an alien infestation breaks out, and a predator comes, and she befriends the predator. They have to then team up against the aliens on this farming world. We had positioned it more as a gritty miner or oil town, as opposed to an idyllic farming thing, which is how it is in the comics. Now, that's very, very close to the comics. That's very, very, very close. It sounds good, personally. Framing it as gritty miner, oil town, I don't hate that at all. I think that sounds fine. The middle 3 or 4 was a pretty faithful adaptation of War, where it was her living with the predators, doing everything that happens in that arc. And then the last chunk, the last trilogy of episodes, was a new ending place that we had made for her. I think that's great. That sounds great. To me, that sounds absolutely brilliant. The thing is, opening it and having it as a pretty faithful adaptation, but then keeping it, as faithful as possible, doing everything in that arc that happens to her during War, sounds fine to me. That sounds really good. So the duo also discussed plans to have the series focus on Machiko as she aged throughout the events of the stories, ending with her starting a journey that would see her become a general, presumably in the colonial marines. This was a concept that Fox would also revisit for another animation that never happened, with the character of Olivia Shipp. So it's something which they have, toyed with every now and then. And this is an artist's rendition of Machiko Noguchi in full Predator armour. Now, Dave and Eric also discussed their experience working with the executives at Fox, who hadn't had much experience with a project such as this, that it was originally intended to create tie-in projects to the anime, and how the project started to change once Fox engaged Shinji Aramaki to create the anime. They revealed that Aramaki wasn't really familiar with the franchise, having only seen Aliens, and initially pitched a wild take. Now, we actually have heard that Shinji Aramaki essentially created his own Alien Queen design, which I think, although we've never seen it, I think that would be epic. So here's what was stated. The director basically wanted to do all the scenes he loved from Aliens, just in another screenplay. There was 3 or 4 different versions of the Japanese version. We had our version. We went over there to talk about it, and they were like, thanks, no thanks. And very quickly everything started to shift, where the Fox US side were like, this is great, guys. We've got them involved. They're going to collaborate with you guys. We want you to make their story better. Because frankly, their initial pitch was just insane. It's not an Alien versus Predator thing. The initial pitch was, we wanted to take place on a deep space freighter where an evil genius named the Game Master is trying to assess who is the strongest species in the universe, humans, aliens, or predators. He puts them all on the ship and they all fight it out. It was like Arcade from the X-Men. Look, that is insane, but I don't hate it. I genuinely don't hate it. At all. So though he's keeping the details of the final story to himself, just in case the anime does see a release, Shinji Aramaki did recently reveal, and he did a video on this, said that the title of the anime was going to be called Aliens vs. Predator Annihilation, and it was set aboard a giant immigration ship. So, interesting. There will be another episode of The Best TV Never Made, so I'll do an update on that as well, I'm sure. But I don't hate all of this. Some of this sounds quite alright. I much prefer the Western elements, I'm not going to lie. Although, again, I don't hate the Game Master. It's a bit comic booky, but, that's anime for you, isn't it, I guess. So let me know what you think down below. I'd love to hear it. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.